All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I am Scott Shelley, otherwise known as the Cow Guy. Thank you very much for joining us here today. And if you've been here with us all day, it's my job to make you stay, so that's good too. Why don't we take a look at what's happening in these markets? Let's jump into corn. What's happening to corn? Well, we're giving back some real estate here, folks. Look at SEP's only up 5.5. That's 638.5, and we're only a tick off the lows there. So setting new lows right now as we speak. New crop D, 630 even as last, up 6.5 cents. And now it's about a half cent off the lows there too. So kind of melting away on us as we speak. How about soybeans? What's happening over in the soybean market in Chicago? It's up still, 18.25 cents in August. 1531.5 is last. And we've got Novi new crop up 17.25 cents to 1413.75. So those are well off the lows over there. How about wheat? Wheat's been taking a little bit of a beating here today. 26.5 cents lower in that SEP contract in Chicago wheat. 865 even is last, and that is about 3/4 of a penny off the lows there. How about hard red wheat in Kansas City? That's 28 cents lower, 917.75 last. In SEP, that's a penny and 3/4 off the low. If we go to March even, 29 cents lower, and that is a new low, 928.5 in March, hard red wheat, Kansas City. Spring wheat, well, Minneapolis, nothing better there, 19.5 cents lower in that SEP contract to 972.25, and that too is one tick off of the lows. If we go out to March, just to give you an idea about the deferreds, 18.5 cents lower in March to 995, and that is a new low. So everything kind of backing up here as we speak. How about cotton? That's been having a rough go as of late. 206 points lower at 93.57. That is not a new low. That's so changes up a little bit, but still lower on the day. Let's bring in our guest analyst. It's Todd Horwitz. He's with Bubba Trading. He's in Chicago. Todd, thanks for joining us on the phone. Or no, it's Skype today. What are your thoughts? I mean, there's lots to talk about. We've got WASD tomorrow. We've got a lot of things happening around us as far as our economy. And then you've got the world kind of having a big hiccup right now. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think if you go back to the Wizard of Oz, Scott, and the Wicked Witch, I mean, we're melting. Everything is the ice is melting below our feet, pretty much globally, and here as well. I mean, when you look at the bigger picture, I mean, the currency markets continue to churn, which really is just another way to try to hide the inflation. Look at the euro currency; it's going to go under par here pretty soon. So there's a lot of issues, and I think in the grain markets we're seeing these big wide trading ranges. They were up pretty good this morning. It looked like they were going to run, and now suddenly they're giving back the gains. So these are all very problematic symptoms of a much worse economy that nobody wants to admit to, of where we really stand right now. And that's always a typical problem that some people be caught off guard later and say, oh, I didn't know. Well, it's pretty obvious what's going on right now.
Well, something that also is a little bit perplexing to a lot of folks out there is the fact that our dollar is so strong. And I keep having to remind folks, it's not because we're strong, right? I mean, we've got our own issues and we're limping down the road like a lot of other folks too. But a lot of other people are also limping a lot more than we are, right? And that's Europe. And Europe's really having a tough time. And a lot of it's got to do with the food insecurity and what's been happening with their inflation issues and obviously their energy issues. And so with what's happening in Europe, by default, that makes us look stronger than we really are. And that's going to really start to hurt our stuff that we're selling abroad, right?
100%. And one other thing that we have to remind everybody is that everybody thinks it's always bonds that people run to in times of trouble. But because the U.S. dollar is still the reserve currency, countries run to U.S. dollars when they are sensing trouble. And you don't think Europe's in trouble? You got Russia threatening to shut down the pipeline to Germany for natural gas. I mean, what's that going to do? There's a lot of unease out there, even though the stock markets aren't necessarily reflecting it, even though the grain markets aren't reflecting it, there is a lot of unease. And the bottom line is we're going to have a food shortage, which is going to be a problem. We already got a fuel problem because we won't pump gas or drill oil. And those are going to be things that are going to mount. And wait till we get back into winter again, or the colder months. I know we're only in the summer, but that's going to be more problematic as well.
Yeah, I totally get it. And you mentioned Nord Stream 1, the pipeline for the gas going into Germany from Russia. It's being shut down today for 10 days of scheduled maintenance, so-called scheduled maintenance. We shall see, but I think that's something that everybody's going to be viewing with some nerves because that's a big chunk of Germany's energy. And if that is down for a prolonged period of time, we've got some problems on our hands. So stay right there. We're going to go away. We're going to pay some bills. We're going to come back and talk more with Todd Horowitz from Bubba Trading in Chicago after these messages. All right, welcome back to Market Day Report. I am Scott Shelby, otherwise known as the Cow Guy, and I use that as a cheap segue every now and again to take a look at what's been happening over in the cattle market. Let's take a quick look at what's going on in live cattle. August is up $1.97, 135.92. Some decent gains over there. Octa's up $1.30 to 140 spot 25. Now, those are closer to the highs of the day, and you've got a decent gains as you go out. There we go. We just ticked $2 higher in August. That's something we like to see. That live cattle board has now started to really tack those gains on. Now we've got a higher corn board, but only by about 5 or 6 cents. See what this feeder cattle are still just shrugging that off, and they're really starting to post some gains here. August is up $2.75 to 174.47. While November is up $1.22. To give you an idea about the deferreds out there, 181 spot 50. So that's interesting, isn't it? How about lean hogs? Well, let's see what the lean hogs want to give us. Well, they're lower here. They've got August off $1.45, 107 spot 72. If we go out the deferreds, we lose less, right? We lose less going out the deferreds. These is only off 60 cents to 85.15. All right, let's bring back in Todd Horowitz from Bubba Trading. Todd, thanks for waiting around in the wings. Anything you want to get off your chest when it comes to these livestock prices, or for that matter, anything else?
First of all, livestock looks pretty good, but I don't know how much more room there is to the upside. This isn't going to be an inflationary situation, but we're up in near 180, and feeders really put on a heck of a show today. When you think about where corn was and where feeders were earlier, and now they're up almost $3. So suddenly we found the money to start buying, and we're starting to see some usage. Look, this whole melting around the economies and not fessing up, and just, sometimes you just have to take a hit, Scott, and sometimes you have to let the bad play out so that you can get rid of it and come back stronger. And that is always, in my opinion, one of the problems with the Keynesian economic theory is they just spend too much time and money trying to keep businesses afloat that shouldn't be afloat in the first place.
And so, are you talking more cattle-wise, or are you just talking general economically?
Well, I'm talking general, but that is part of the pricing we're seeing in markets, right? You're seeing that we continue to eliminate, and of course, they keep the banks afloat that are probably over-leveraged anyways, which allows the farmers to do their job. And again, I think that we're seeing a lot of artificial numbers that are really not there, and that will tie back to the dollar as well. The overall value of dollar versus everything else, and I think that's what you're looking at.
All right, really appreciate it. That's Todd Horowitz. He's with Bubba Trading. He's coming to us from Chicago. We're in Nashville. I'm going to throw this back over to Tammy.